What's up everyone, welcome to today's video, welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So apparently somehow I'm geeking out and I'm progressing through Gotham Knights, and I hit a point that for some reason I just did not want to go past. And that was where you're playing the Mr. Freeze mission, which is somewhere in between the game. And it took me back to 2020 where we first saw the gameplay for Gotham Knights at the DC Fandom event. The developers brought gameplay for this game on that same day. It was actually interesting to see because that gameplay actually was a part of the game. I remember getting into a lot of trouble here in the community because I told people that I strongly believe that that particular sequence was actually a sequence from the game. Now, keep in mind that that sequence right now, the way you play it in the game is slightly different in the sense that you're not necessarily just riding all the way from, some random place. No, the game kind of closes a little bit of a section of it in order to kind of give you some kind of a progression metric. And it's actually interesting how all of this comes into play. So today we're going to be looking at a few things, a few differences, just from a, I would say more in quote, cosmetic standpoint, and kind of see how that trailer in a sense differs from what it is that you're going to be playing in the game. Now, keep in mind some spoilers involved here. If you haven't played this mission, then you might want to maybe at some point back away once I move any further. But I'm going to try not to get to the boss fight because I know most of you have already seen this aspect of the game. So one of the very first things that you get to see is the way the world is looking. You can tell that they added a little bit more cinematic flair to this particular sequence. And the one thing that I'm not necessarily sure of is how well this game was running and exactly what platform they played it on. I think we suspect the PlayStation 5 because some of the button prompts look like it was a PlayStation 5. And at that point in time, there was a different button configuration, that was actually supposed to be what you would use to make, say, interactions with different objects. Example is when you actually get to inside of the Elliott Center floor and you're trying to open up these elevator doors or something like that. One thing that Batgirl does is when she gets to that place, she uses the O button as an interaction button. So that was actually interesting to see that at that time. Whereas right now in the game, if you're on Xbox, it's A, or if you're on a PlayStation, it will be X to actually open up the button. So, we got to see a few little things like that. But by and large, it's really the same mission for the most part. Another thing that they did that was actually pretty cool, was the enemy types. I think what they did in this particular area was they went ahead and used like the most generic regulators to populate the, area. So this is one of the fun things they do in game development and game designs. So what they did is they just basically spawned these enemy NPCs in here. But compared to the main game, at this stage, you're going to be dealing with some of the, more advanced regulators, depending on where you are anyways. I guess maybe at level 10, that's where they were at this time. Me, in my progression on PC, I'm a little bit higher than level 10. So I think I'm getting to see other regulators, but I already started seeing them around that time. So I don't really know exactly when those regulators started coming in. But by and large, I think this is something that is, in my opinion, what I think is a testament to Gotham Knights, especially to the community that have been following the game for a very long time. Seeing this footage and making hundreds of videos using clips from this footage, it's really interesting to see how everything has come full circle. One of the craziest things that happened was, as I was actually trying to play this mission, my kids, who've seen a lot of my Gotham Knights videos, kept asking, "Dad, are you going to use Robin to also join Batgirl when you're playing this?" And I was like, guys, someone else has got to come in with Robin. It's crazy that even they know the sequence of events, in the way that the mission was played, and everything seemed like it was up to par. Now, it brings me to a point where, I wonder how long this game has actually been, in a sense, almost completed to its deployment and delivery, because around 2020, they had announced that 2021 was going to be the release date of the game. But that did not happen. What we got to see actually was that the game got one more year of delay, and everyone, was wondering exactly why. And then after the delay, the game got canceled on the previous generation of consoles. So I think at this stage, if you look very carefully, they were probably playing this on the PlayStation 5. The frame rate seemed somewhere around 60 FPS at that time. but I don't think they could execute and deploy the game if that is in fact they were playing on a PS5, because the HUD is pretty much turned off for this entire gameplay sequence. And that's something that developers can do. They can 100% turn off their HUD and go from there. And then Batgirl runs on a vehicle. Is that an ability that you get? I haven't even cared about much of the abilities, folks. I've just been running around beating bad guys and, crazy stuff. And then she does this one weird ability which is like a swarm of bats. I haven't seen that in the game yet. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe they decided that they would remove it. And then I haven't also had Montoya on our team yet. So I don't know if that's a thing where they wanted it to be before you got to, get Montoya in on the whole thing, or if it's after, or if it depends on your progression. Whatever it is, I think this was actually pretty cool to have seen this about 2 years ago. And I think it gives us some sort of a, metric to kind of say, okay, this is possibly where this game's development was at that time. But anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching the video. This is just one of those throwback videos I wanted to put together and show you guys here in the community. So I'll hear your thoughts. We'll keep chatting in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.